All right, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Once again, we're back with Guided Primal Sutra podcast. This time we're talking all about how to contact and connect with your spirit guide so that they spill their
Yes.
secrets. What's coming up for you in terms of this topic, Ryan G? Why do we discuss this topic and how do we
Mm.
come upon this idea?
Let's first start with definitions. What is a spirit guide? Basically, the way Primal Sutra sees it is both a combination of deities that are connected with you, either by bloodline, spiritual lineage, association, team, literally connected to your chakras, etc., past life
Right,
stuff, etc. That's pretty much what we considered the spirit guides or the spirit guide team. Now, what
right,
we define as having a good relation would be either you already work with such a being and it's going fantastic, or something along those lines. Now, why did we choose? Why did we choose such a topic? It's mostly to do with I still believe there's a lot more to be gained from delving, mining deeper in this massive mountain.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good idea to have a good relationship with a
Yeah.
deity. Not, of course, worshiping or like begging them for favors. It's more about building that real, like living connection with them. So
Right.
it's a two-way flow of energy and not this kind of one-sidedness.
Could you give an
You know,
example of
right?
this
Yeah,
one-sidedness? What
so
do you mean?
like let's say you're just worshiping and it's just a basically you're creating a monologue, not a dialogue. You're speaking
Mm.
out loud and like all the things that you want, but you're not creating that back and forth, that give and receive, is what I mean.
Uh-huh.
I
I
think in
see.
Hinduism, the concept darshan is a very interesting one because it means like sight or vision, but it's more than just like seeing a deity's image. It's more like having the presence and the connection of the deity there. So
Right.
it's like the moment the veil between you and the divine and the human dissolves, basically, is
Right.
darshan.
It's a difference between
Yeah,
merely prayer and making a artwork as devotion
right.
to. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're tuning your frequency with the deity's rhythm. And then when your connection locks in, then you receive like the blessings, the insights.
Right. It's a difference between
Yeah.
saying I love you and writing a whole fucking poem.
Right. Of course.
Like,
And
mm,
yeah, it's in how real it's coming across in my own experience. Like if I go in really like robotic with my mantra chanting and it's not going to feel the same and it's not going to
makes
tap me
sense.
in and I'm not going to receive the blessings because
Makes
I'm just
sense.
doing it to like a task, not like in reverence and respect, you know?
Mm.
So,
Um,
yeah,
there's something similar to that. That's kind of what I'm exploring. Is my purest authentic expression of self, at least per my current consciousness,
yeah,
is tribute to my spirit guide team or to my deities. So if my expression itself is tribute and the way I hold myself and the quality of character, you or whoever decides to undermine it with disrespect to anything is by definition disrespecting my guides. So that's an ass whooping waiting to happen, right?
right.
And you can then standing on business because people are crossing lines they don't need to, they don't have to, and then they're probably gonna cry when things happen. Things go missing. Maybe they bumped their toe a little bit too hard. I'm just saying, these things are possible.
Yeah. Deities respond best though when you show up real and raw. I think that's a really
Yeah,
good
yeah, yeah,
datum
yeah,
because it's like you have to offer your authenticity to them almost in a
yeah.
sense.
Wow, yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You
There's
offer your
authenticity
authenticity to it.
offering. Authenticity offering. That's the
There's
Primal Sutra special, huh?
because there's nothing
Yeah.
more real than the most raw version of oneself. right?
Right.
There's nothing more
Yeah.
real than that. But
Have you ever looked at like a mandala and then you see something like beyond it, beyond the actual image, beyond the words, or maybe even a deity's image, or if you've ever
not quite.
meditated on that.
For me, it would be if my eye suddenly starts to twitch like too fast,
Mm,
I know I'm looking at something that has meaning, likely hidden meaning. That's when I send pictures to you, like our private chat, and we start to figure shit out.
mm.
I have maybe once saw an image, and I believe it was in Bali where we went to get our tattoos. Remember that? And I was
Yeah.
just so obsessed with their artwork of Mahakali as a,
Mm.
let's say, a dateable woman, so to speak. And I was just,
Right.
yeah, yeah, I know my poison.
It's so interesting you brought up Kali's energy because
You tell.
it's almost like I've been having a different relationship with Kali's energy because my mom is associated with Kali's energy. And every time that I go in to work with Kali's energy, I notice she's so untamed, bro. Like she's so against convention. So when I
Yes.
hear that you have to follow this conventional like routine of like step by step
Which
and
is
then try to do this,
ironic, isn't it?
it like just goes completely against the point of her energy. You just have to show up authentically, real, like you're speaking to a divine mother. And of course, your divine mother's going to hit you over the head sometimes. You know what I mean? Like that because
Right.
she cares.
Out of
So
curiosity,
that
when's the
that's
last
yeah,
time Ma Kali hit me over the head and I wasn't expecting it? Just out of curiosity.
probably quite a few. I mean, you'll notice like emotions, sensations, insights when you are working with certain energies.
Yes.
So speak to them and listen to them. Don't just pray to them. Trust your intuition and allow your like the guidance to flow through you, even
Right.
if it feels like your own thoughts at the time, because sometimes when you're starting out, it can feel like that. So
Mm,
it's good to offer something symbolic or just your attention is good enough, I think also. Um, Giving and receiving are part of the same energy loop, right?
right.
So there has to be this interdependence, not a codependence relationship with your
Correct.
deities. Yeah.
Could you give an example of a codependent relationship with a deity?
Yeah, it's like, so you get super enmeshed into the deity's world and you have no sense of self anymore. You're just kind of like a hollow shell of a being and you're just kind of in that the deity is basically taken over completely. Like I once heard this story of a man who did Kali sadhana so deep that he started to get man boobs and actually become a woman, like after a certain point. So he went so deep that he lost his sense of like identity. It's like a biokinesis or something that took place. That's just one. Of course, these are like rumored yogic stories, so we don't know exactly what's going on, but we
I
do know
mean,
that
that's one
there,
hell of a devotion, man. And
I know what you,
yeah,
yeah,
we don't do
exactly.
that here, unless that's what you want to
Yeah,
do. But again, you're an
right,
adult, don't be an idiot.
right. But yeah, it's like the main point is like to dissolve the separation, right? And of course, there's going to be a lot of separation when you start out. Um,
Yeah. What helped me
but yeah,
is to realize that one, um, either I'm aspects of them or they're aspects of me. And
yeah,
and whatever aspect of them is most aligned with me, be it the actual deity or merely, a certain percentage of it, him, her, whatever,
mhm,
so be it.
yeah,
And then you have to the level of consciousness and or awareness that you have in the moment, let's say while channeling, that's to the level you are able to channel and or
right,
ask or request things from it.
right,
And that
right,
kind of brings me to I see having spirit guides as having a team of highly competent individuals that can get you to the next
Yeah,
level.
seriously, you're right. Yeah, because it's like the spiritual Avengers or something. Yeah, they
Correct.
come to the rescue
Correct.
in the right moment. So definitely, yeah, I see that.
If you
But
look
it isn't
back,
just about ambience, though, you
what's
know?
up? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I feel like it's about creating like a multi-dimensional altar that doesn't necessarily need mood lighting and like lighting a candle and all these things are great.
Right.
And even but if you're not burning incense with something that resonates with your core frequency, like let's say Ryan, I would suggest Dragon's Blood for you for courage, and
Mm.
tapping into Montu's energy. Sandalwood for clarity. For certain adepts. I'm burning sandalwood right now. So once you feel the air thicken with the spirit, it's like your space becomes this energetic cocoon, right?
Right.
And so you have to understand how to relax and enter the stillness of that void when you're channeling and activate your own pillar of light.
Yeah. I understand. But not just
Yeah,
deities. Totems can also be channeled.
right. Absolutely.
You also have connections. You are an animal, so you have connections to the animal world.
Yeah, even mythical creatures too, right? Like we can use so many archetypes and again, it's really about calling in your entourage, right? Like they are guardians of your, in a sense, highest light. So they're
Right.
guardians, angels, ascended masters, galactic kin, even lower beings, astral beings. They
Yeah.
will reveal their presence. Sometimes, it's like the satanic forces of the planet are
Yeah.
hiring certain beings to test your arc. So it's like almost like you have arc testers, right? It's
Yeah.
like if you can stay on your mystical arc and you can keep spiraling upwards of the upward spiral, or you can
Yeah.
get sidetracked with too many side quests on your spiritual path.
Yeah. That's kind of why I'm such a big proponent in one, being of quality character, and two,
Yeah,
continuously finding pockets during the day to stay in that authentic self, regardless of what happened. I mean, there's
yeah.
so many distractions in life anyway, and you can train yourself to still be that kind of human being. So, that being said, why should people care? And we kind of should just start off with this. Why should people even care about this topic, Sumit?
So it could be that you have guides and you're not even aware of it, right? Like it could be
Mm,
that a guide is trying to get to you some message through a song and you're not
yeah.
seeing it. Like we recently discovered this that sometimes the Luciferian energies come through
Ah,
music,
yeah. Of
right?
the week. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. And so we
Bless your
said, bless our
headphones, man.
headphones.
Bless your headphones. Yeah.
Yeah. Bless
Yeah.
your headphones, children, right? Yeah, absolutely. So shout out Herbrin. So even I think certain people aren't getting the full message of their guides. So
Mm,
once you actually understand and imagine that there is this energy vortex around you, and then there's
yeah.
these hidden invisible energies around you, your life will be forever changed, man, because you
Right.
will be initiated into the kind of like a cosmic council type of situation where these beings, they test you because they're parts of your psyche. So let's say you grew like
Mm,
Ryan grew up practicing the martial arts, right? So he brings in a lot of warlike beings just merely through that psyche. Does that make sense? So for the
makes
audience
sense.
listening, do you guys have any questions, anything coming up for any of you? Let us
Let me
know.
open up YouTube as well.
Yeah, so if we have to give it a step by step, I can go into it. So like let's say the first step or stage one is like where you set the stage. So this is where you create the intention of who you're
Obviously, yeah.
calling upon,
Yeah.
what deity. I mean, do some research on it. You're just
Yes.
setting the stage, right? then you sort of allow yourself to play some kind of incantation or music that aligns with this deity's beingness. So at least that's how I've done it and
Makes
I do
sense?
it. Um, Now, these different deities, man, they will give you different visualizations. Like if I know I'm working with an earth being, I'll have like poison ivy through my spine and like coiling up into
Right.
my, upper
You keep
chakras
it
and things
with the
like
theme
this.
of the deity, exactly. Let's say I'm
Yeah,
channeling a
yeah.
cat-like being. Let's say Quetzalcoatl. I'm gonna. I tend to do my research via Wikipedia and other sources, etc. Maybe visit the nearest by Native American or Native
Yeah.
South American, I should say. People talk about these things, etc. Listen to documentaries. Maybe ask
Or
ChatGPT what kind of character.
tune into one of
Yes.
our channelings. You could check out Chief
Yeah,
Deno. He growls and he taps into the tiger spirit.
correct, correct.
So yeah, that's actually trippy for me, bro. When he starts growling like that, I'm like, what's going on? Trips
Right.
me out. But yeah, it's a powerful merging, let's just say, that's going on in that during that time. And
Exactly. And in order to merge you, you must match the frequency of the deity.
right, by any means necessary.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because
Oh
it's that
man.
same frequency by which you magnetize the things that you desire.
Ryan G, do you remember the time where I believe you had to were you channeling Kubera G or like you Ganesha? Do you remember that channeling?
I believe you're talking about the time I decided to connect with the Jimbalas.
Hmm.
It
Could
was
have
a
been
private
that. It was
event.
like Ganesha gave you some challenge. That's all I remember. Is someone gonna
Yes.
match my
So,
frequency? Yeah.
a good one for us. The context had a lot to do with earning the privilege of getting that chest tattoo with the blessings, etc. Because one of the main designs had a lot to do with the red Jambala, which is Tibetan Ganesha.
Hmm.
As my nature tends to be the disruptor type, I needed a being that could hold things together, and Ganesha was selected. And based on his design, I went for a Conor McGregor style or Conor McGregor inspired Ganesha tattoo with different elements added to it. And I remember doing the channeling, and it was absolutely rough because I was trying to understand what I was seeing until we figured out what I had to do. And this was a private adept's channeling. And I believe the challenge was made harder because I didn't really understand the visions until I did, and then of course I pass. Did I forget to say anything? Oh, of
No, I
course you
think
made
that's
use
good.
of
It's
my
funny that
other
you're
deity.
speaking about it like it's an exam that you're going
Well, it
through,
did feel like an
like
exam because how the hell are you
spiritual
supposed to
exam.
answer something you didn't even know what the question means? You ever like read a math question and you're like,
Yeah.
what are you even talking about, man? And the visions that I was seeing was I was just in the middle of an absolute whirlpool and I just didn't understand what I'm supposed to do with this. And trying to listen in and really tap into vision mission or whatever, trying to get to the intention of it, only to realize that I could have just asked my other deities and they would have shown me some hints at very least. So after 50 minutes of fucking around, rolling over, etc., I
Yeah.
imagined being on top of a giant golden cobra or rainbow snake and then having it bring me there. And then the exam
Mm.
continued, etc., being tested in different ways, which we don't have to go into right now. But I've earned the right to be in contact with such beings.
Damn, I'm getting a download from the Primal Sutra Nexus. They're saying that spirituality, do you know what Mad Libs are?
Um, kind of
You
like
sort of have
saying
to
yeah,
fill in
whatever,
the
right?
words, like
Yeah,
noun, verb, you have to fill it in. So it's sort of like they're saying you start with a template, which is your life. The
yes,
template is there, but it feels incomplete.
it does.
So then most people hand the pen over to family, culture, religion, society, and then they may give them boring, predictable, disempowering words, hence lives.
Often
So
disempowering, yeah, but sure.
yes, so the words that don't match their essence, right? So, but when you wake up spiritually, you snatch back the pen, right? Because you're the one writing the script.
Right.
So then every ritual, every conversation with a guide is like flipping through a thesaurus. So you're basically like, when you go off script, sometimes there's this untamed consciousness in the blanks. So the universe hands you paper, but you have to decide how epic the story becomes. Because once you
Right.
realize you're actually writing it, then you're free to make it a legend instead of some generic novel, you know?
Working with spirit guides, it's kind of like playing Grand Theft Auto and writing all the cheat codes on a piece of paper,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I
True.
mean, look at the work that
There
we
are cheat
do.
codes, yeah.
It's like having cheat codes indeed. Like knowing who's against you, knowing whether you're doing the right things, knowing when or when not to do something, or making sure that somehow you get a passing grade or etc. And making this as pragmatic and to the point as possible. And again, I know I'm kicking a dead horse, beating up a dead horse, whatever. Um, I really believe one of the main reasons I have such great relations with my deities is of my demonstration of who I am while
Yeah.
representing them. And having them every time I'm doing good,
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
pay ode
interesting.
to
You're
them.
thinking of yourself as a representative of them. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
To tell
yeah.
me more about that paradigm. So, like, let's say you're repping like Odin's energy, right? How does that look
If
like to you? How do you
well,
experience that?
hmm, I'm not exactly in his energy right now, but if I was to imagine I
Great.
was his energy, it would be to go to war with wisdom. Whatever conflict comes my way, I will approach it with wisdom. Let it happen. It's either we can discuss this civilized, or I'm gonna stab you with a spear.
It's like the boundary keeper, it seems like that kind
Possibly,
of energy.
possibly, but I like to use Odin as well within a team of having vision. One thing I
Mm.
constantly do at work is I'm asking why. What's the vision behind this product? Why are we creating this? What problem are we solving? What are the prescriptions that led to ultimately a stakeholder accepting such a data product, etc. It's the same thing in my life. What vision do I hold regarding what topic? Because for me at least, if something is clear to me, then the only thing I need to do is take steps towards it. And whatever is in front of me, I'll deal with it when we get there.
Mhm. That's awesome.
Is that close enough to Odin's energy?
Yeah, definitely. I felt that. I don't know if the audience recognized that there was a difference in how Ryan sort of embodied that frequency and spoke from it at some moments, if we go back and
Give me
listen.
another one.
Uh,
I like this.
um, let's see. What about Montu?
Right. If I would give one to one word, it would be, well, two then. He's a royal asshole.
Okay.
Where One might be civilized. He's a
So it
royal king,
reminds me
yes.
how Ellie said, like, we laugh like rich people do.
Last, like absolutely obnoxious. Absolutely. He's probably the reason I have a certain type of laughter. But he
And
is
I'm
the
connected to it too, because
energy.
that's his brother, so of Horus.
He's the type of energy that when
And I
something
saw
needs to be
two hawks
done,
today, and then Ryan saw
yes,
feather today, and then we
a hawk's
put two
feather,
and two
yeah.
together. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, Ryan is well trained though, so he can tap in like this, but you're gonna need a little bit, if you're just a newbie watching this video, you're gonna need a little bit of training in order to fully tap into your deities. But we're gonna guide you through it. So don't even sweat it.
So to finish the Montu part, as I'm tapping into his energy, it would be he is so absolute in who he is that anything other than who he is unacceptable. Any boundaries that are crossed is seen as disrespect and is met with even more disrespect. You don't get to tell me what to do. I get to tell you what to do. And if you don't like that, we can fight or we can both fuck off.
Shalom, my dude. Let's go. Upward
Is that
spiral.
close enough to what Montu is?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a sense that he was like kind of an outlaw king, or a prince that kind of went rogue type of energy behind him. Yeah, I'm getting
Give me a
that.
second, I'm winding
That's
down.
all good. So for the audience listening, do you guys have any questions on guides or anything that you want to
Oh,
know in
whatever,
particular?
be gladly be an asshole online so I can eat you up. I'm hungry. Please do it. I've activated Montu. Now his energy is like life, and I'm just trying to process this.
Do you want to tell that story where I became angry and
Oh, right.
in New Zealand?
So I only meet Sumit like physically once a year, maybe for like a couple of weeks, etc. And we both have separate challenges and shared challenges, right? Of course, we have like a mission and we
Right.
go to certain location and do stuff. But as sometimes we have contradicting missions where I'm literally there to learn how to deal with this drive I have to get something done while being extremely patient and forcing myself to match the frequency of that which I am to either learn of or match whatever I'm meant to magnetize. And I forgot what
Right.
you were there to do. Um, but while this happens, we are dealing with a lot of be it evil entities, shadow entities, that are either fucking with us or just really, really hostile towards us. So, after coming from, I believe, the hippie village, right? Without saying too much about it, we drive
Well, yeah, it was
down,
like a festival full of hippies,
something like that,
basically. Yeah,
without
something
telling too
like
much
that.
about it. You
Yeah,
should have been there.
right.
That's what I'm trying to say. It was fun.
You're
It
right.
was fun. I had fun. I should have capitalized way more on certain aspects of the party, but I'll leave it at that. Um, and driving back, because super late, we're having a hard time finding a hotel, and we went to basically a forest where was like a mansion like hotel, and shit was getting really weird because there's energies around you and you know what's that door called again? The automatic door just keeps opening and closing at random.
Ele
Not the
elevate
elevator door,
ele
the
oh.
the instead of the manual door, you have the automatic door. I forget what it's called in
Yeah,
English.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. The
And then a fucking bat flew in, a big one as well. And I
doors
was
that
like,
open up.
there's something here that I don't know what it is, but I just want to go to sleep. So, as
That guy was like, it's the bats or whatever. We knew there was something else going on. Like we were like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
was a
okay,
big
bats.
one too, man. They grow big in New Zealand. But anyway, I figured, okay, it's super late. We haven't slept a lot or ate a lot, so we bring our stuff there. And listen, here's the thing: we're Indian, and I've never seen, and I hope I'm not putting your business out there, Sumit, too much. I've never seen Sumit walk with shoes indoors. And I was like, okay, that's fucking weird. And I'm trying to call him out on it, right? And then he flips out, and I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, it
I'm,
was like in
I'm,
that moment, like blood rushed up to my head and crown. So it was like a cortisol adrenaline
oh,
takeover,
that head.
basically.
Okay,
Is that
got
is
it.
it is the way that I could describe it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm making dirty
Yeah.
jokes, my bad. And I'm just just looking at you. I'm like, I don't recognize who this is. So I'm like observing you observing myself before I let loose because I need to figure out, okay,
Nah, bro, you like
is
fucking walked out the door. You were like, fuck this, you know? And then you were like charging the energy, it
well,
it
yeah,
felt
because
like
I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this. Because if you lose
I was
control,
getting ready to fight, bro, because I knew
yeah,
Brian was
fucking
gonna.
clearly, and I was ready to choke someone out. I was like, okay, this is not okay. I don't know who this is. We need to calm down. And I'm just observing you while you walk past me, and I'm trying to stare you down, like, what's going on? And just mentally preparing, like, okay, I have five different options, all five of which is not going to end well for either one of us. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And then you just stop in your tracks and then you apologize and just catch me completely off guard. And I'm just observing you, keeping my emotions in check, and then fucking finally telling what's going on. And apparently, because of the type of relationship that we have with our deities, we of course have given permission to them to take over wherever, whenever, especially to protect us. And
Yeah,
apparently, there were some pretty fucking evil energies around us or in the environment. And I knew something was spooky, but I just couldn't put my finger around us. I feel my solar plexus burning. And when that happened, I remember listening and going, "Oh, well, now that we're energized, let's do something about it." So we put all the bags in, went into the car. I activated Mon 2 by really smacking my solar plexus, and I just feel this bloodlust, and I'm like, okay. How are we going to deal with this? But of course, we haven't eaten in like 5, 6 hours, so we go to McDonald's because that's the only thing that's open.
of all
And
places, we have
well,
to.
here's the
That's
thing:
the only place that's
the New
open.
Zealand meat is
Yeah.
significantly higher quality, so it tastes pretty gourmet. Hindsight, we should have taken more hamburgers. Yeah, we should have. Definitely
We
should have.
needed it after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we calmed down and we talked about how we were going to do this, and without revealing too much, as I've promised the Promise Sutra family and the Nexus. We created some spells. We discussed some ideas with certain entities, like Akura, and proceeded to create, in essence, a major vacuum by either destroying, devouring, etc. Whatever these evil, extremely evil pawns are. That's kind of like
Mm.
dropping a nuke on an environment and just suddenly whatever was fucking with us.
Whatever it was, man, it was the opposite of Horus's energy. That's all I can
Well,
say.
you'd think it was a set like energy, but worse, I think.
Worse, yeah.
Worse.
More
And that's
amplified,
saying a lot.
exaggerated.
That is saying a lot.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
to
That's wild.
answer GJEE, it isn't that I don't see where you're coming from. Of course, I don't want to hurt Sumit.
She wants to see me angry.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the kink behind it. You know, I get it. I get it.
I understand.
I get it. I've seen my ex do it, try to piss me off, and then suddenly she's like totally into it. I'll never really understand it from a primal level, but over time I
Do you remember
understand.
that video where I was going off at those Twin Flame Universe people, that cult? So
Vaguely, could you remind me again?
I don't remember exactly what this was, but this was years ago where I remember I just
Ah,
went off at these like people because they were like so unethical and like they fucked with the entire integrity of spiritual communities. And
ah.
so I was like, I felt like this, my blood boiling, and I just went off on camera.
Remember
But it's a
the
really good
time?
idea to record
What's up?
yourself when you're angry.
Yes, I
Highly
was about to
recommend
say
that.
that. I because that
Yeah.
was technically because of the way my mind works, I need to almost logic my way into these things, right? And the way we started with me was first, if I have no understanding of a DT, let's first start with the things that I do have an understanding of, and that's let's say emotion. And let's start then with the most uncomfortable emotions that I do have. And mine would have been okay, let's conjure up all the absolute negative emotions that I have. And then we recorded it and later decided to delete it because it was just insane the level of
It was
rat.
it was like the opposite of political correctness, let's just say.
Yeah, yeah, where whatever mask I had was no longer that. Like I just forget
It
about
was
what you're saying.
raw.
Just raw negative
It was
emotion.
Primal Sutra.
It was very
Well,
Primal
negative.
Sutra.
Yeah, yeah, it was very Primal Sutra because you
Yeah,
like,
but
yeah, you tapped in.
definitely, definitely afterwards I felt so fucking free, man. And then having to natural ground to me being like that, and I was just seeing my face change into just and my demeanor changed into just almost this gargoyle like being and just
Mm.
full of wrath and rage and my muscles being so tensed up, especially the facial muscles, and there might be an aspect of me that's connected to one of the deities like that. Where should I
Mm.
ever need to get that angry and have some level of safety net so that I can just let loose, I can rely on such entities of the Primal Sutra
It's true.
family, of the Nexus, to be able to handle that.
Very true. We have worked out a way to work with the wrathful beings and make them
Oh yeah,
more
oh yeah.
compassionate towards
Here's
our
a
path.
question. Is Sakura considered a wrathful being or not?
I wouldn't say he is because he's more of a
Hmm.
protector, right? Like he protects the
Hmm.
people of Australia too. So
Which one of my
the
deities would be
agriculture.
considered wrathful? If you can say it publicly, of course.
Wrathful. I better not because then I'm summoning them using their name because you know what I mean?
Uh,
And
oh,
I don't want to
you
put
can't
that on
say
the
it, but I
audience just
can.
like that. Um, not exactly.
Oh, are you saying this is not the time?
Yeah, that's not the time.
It's not the time. Do I know who it is? Did his name come up?
You do, yeah,
Interesting. Is it a tomorrow thing?
yeah,
Do I already know why?
yeah.
War it is. War it is. So be it.
This is how we gotta speak in codes as mystics, yo.
Yeah, well, it's kind of
The
like
audience
double
is going,
because this is
huh?
like a live as well, right? And
Yeah.
there are like certain situations where I need to be careful what I say because by using his name too early, something prematurely might happen, and that not that I couldn't clean it up, it just takes more energy, and I don't want that, and I like efficiency and pragmatism. Plus, I have a big kink for when things just go smoothly. I have a funny feeling decisions need to be made tomorrow, and that's why I said, war it is. War it
Hmm.
is. Fuck 'em. Yeah.
There's definitely a
Yeah.
spiritual war going on, yeah.
I
And
don't exactly know which context, but it has likely to do with their entities fucking with business aspects.
well, they're
And
anti-flow entities clearly, because
I,
if we're a peak performance path, they're gonna
well
be
said,
things that try to throw us off our peak
well said,
performance, right?
well said.
So
Now I'm feeling very
yeah.
angry. Well said. I was trying to crystallize my thoughts and then you said it. Like, yeah, they're anti-flow, which means they're anti-productivity, which means they're anti-money. My message
Anti-life,
to them
yeah.
is to, you know, suck on a lemon. Maybe that will keep you busy. Maybe that's more productive, right? Wasting
You know, I
everybody's
think
time.
certain beings don't like that. I think you're right. Like that's why
Yeah,
in Indian
yeah,
households they hang it. The chilies outside
right.
the doors or whatever. It's too
Like you would have, yeah,
spicy.
yeah. I mean, it's Suriname to do it too. It's Suriname to do it too. I do it. I
Yeah.
walk with yeah, lemon, garlic, shit like that. I
You
eat it.
walk with garlic in your pockets or whatever.
Yeah,
It's just
here's
like
the thing. I
some
might
people have
actually for next
sage, you know.
Halloween decide to go like completely Van Helsing, and work like, with like a chain of garlic around my neck. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah, well, might as well fucking do. TXL, you cracking me up. So what TXL is doing on the Zoom call is he changed his profile picture to Apu from The Simpsons,
Hmm.
which brings me kind of to my next point. Stop using whatever you are as an excuse to play the victim. If you play the victim, you get treated like the victim, and that's not who your deities want you to be. If you look back at all the times you were under trauma hypnosis, those were the exact moments you were also playing the victim. So if you decide that you want to manifest, you cannot manifest as the victim. You manifest because you are that guy, you are that woman, you are him, you are her. So either you are it and you're on your way to getting it because you match that frequency, or you're not it and you're just bitching around.
Hmm.
And being a victim can also be seen as manifestation because, yeah, you have that mindset, you become that frequency, so yeah, you become a victim. Like, let's look at the current client that all is made manifest. Well said, TXL. Creation is finished. Creation is finished. Well said. Like, remember how we manifested me passing the fucking thesis? Like, you know what kind
Yeah.
of fucking ordeal that was? Like, how many different factors and levels and trauma work and me just going above and beyond trying to figure out every fucking possibility to pass it. And only to later find out that I was breaking some extreme karmic loops for myself. You know how fucking like it was half a year of work, like actually doing the work to reach the setting to write the thesis, plus being able to
Yeah.
be that kind of human being or man that finishes theses, plus having to figure out what entities these people are connected to so that I can always, get bonus points in case I need it. And I crawl to the eye of a fucking needle.
Mm.
Finally, finally.
Psirosmosis is basically saying and bringing up that if you're when you're lost in victimhood, you're trapped in the Newtonian paradigm of cause and effect, action
Yeah,
reaction. So then life feels like it's happening to you, not through you, right?
right. I think
Yeah.
something more recent. I had a situation with one of my coaches, wrestling coaches. And during that time, we did a lot of self-worth rituals. And I decided to do it as someone, a character who already has it. Now I just need to become it. And everything I did from a extreme level of self-worth, like I do good work because I have a high level of self-worth, because I'm worth it. I go to sleep early because I'm worth it, etc. It's like a whole L'Oreal commercial. So when someone disrespected me, then I'm immediately doing like, this is not an energy I want in my environment. Fuck off.
Mm. It's going so
And
out of the victim mind into that is like, why me to try me, right? It's like a more
yeah, it's why me to
combative
try
energy.
me, and that's kind of what I was
Yeah.
heading towards, right? Because
Yeah.
should any one of these human beings and or entities decide to cross lines again, then the line that will be crossed is their neck.
Yeah, victim it tells you that the pen that you're writing with is broken, right? Whereas
Wow, well said, well said, well said. But you know what? If not a pen, then a pencil. Here's the thing: if you break a pencil, you can still write with it. That's the weird thing about it. Isn't it
right.
funny that if you break a pencil in a certain way by, you know, cutting away of it, the sharper it becomes. Weird, weird, interesting.
Victim into vortex, someone is saying. Thank you for that. That's great. All right, guys. I think we've gone a little bit
Well, I
over
kind
time, or we've
of,
wrapped up almost.
roughly.
Yeah. All right.
Roughly. Thank you for the comments, DJ Double E, for us, TXL. Let's start with the outro. Let's uh let's do this. The free mystery school course is still live. Let's not forget to put it on because it's still effective. Get to know
Yeah.
us. Maybe book the 15-minute call. And this year we're heading to Sedona. This is the year of the Mars energy. And if Mars is manifestation, I want my manifestation power to be absolutely maxed out and beyond. Maybe I can crack it.
This
And
is why we're
anything else would be,
spiritual Olympians, guys. This is what we do. All the way into the deep end and beyond. Let's go.
that's correct. And with that being said, if you don't have anything else to say, Sumit,
I
no,
think I'm good, man. Just yeah, make sure that you know to close the portal. Let's just seal this space with gratitude. Say thank you to all of your guides that have helped you all of these different years.
that's correct.
Every single one of their energies changing you and getting you a deeper connection to your true self. Let's go upward spiral.
I mean, so be it. May life never be the same again. This has been
Swag.
GPS.